Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to class today. I wanted to start reading a poem that I wrote a little bit of in my newsletter, this last month's newsletter from Mary Oliver. But while I'm getting ready to leave, read, I want you to go ahead and lay down and keep your knees bent. You can put a very small blanket under your head, neck if you would like. Um, but then just find yourself coming down to the floor. Maybe have a strap nearby. I don't know if you'll need it for what we're going to do, but have it by you and just in case. And then settle down to the floor and start to check in with your breath. And just pause. Pause here while I read. And in the newsletter, I referred to Mary Oliver's poem, Wild Geese. And I've read this before. It is one of my favorite ones, but I thought it might be good to remind us and hear the rest of the poem that I did not put in my newsletter. All right. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you about mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clear blue sky, the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. I love that poem. And it reminds me that despite my need almost to do as much good as I can in the world, that isn't what makes me worthy. That isn't what makes me belong to this world of ours. I can just be me. I can just love what I love and be okay. And it's a powerful message because I know that we all do good things in the world to do good things. And sometimes we attach our own identities to that, that if we don't do enough, we're not good enough. And that was a long, long, hard lesson for me in my life. So with that, just breathe, just feel where your body is. Keep your feet on the floor and feel where your sacrum is, right? Where the back of the sacrum is. Maybe go a little bit side to one edge of the sacrum or one edge of the hip, and then the other side. And find the middle space. So find the middle space of the sacrum. Maybe tilt your pelvis and know that is not your middle place. And then tuck the pelvis so that the back is flat, and that is not the middle space. So find that middle space, and then let your hands rest on the hip bones, the front hip bones, but keep it soft. Just let the fingers drop down toward the low belly. The shoulders are down. Find your breath. Couple more nice focused breaths right here. And then bring your attention to your feet and imagine that you were going to turn your toes out, but you're not really going to move. So if you actually moved your feet, your toes would go out, your heels would stay where they are. So don't really move your feet. I'll take my socks off here, but press out with isometrically. Just press out isometrically. And as you do so, right, as you try to drag the heels in and press the ball mounds out, feel this outer part of the hip and glute and maybe the hamstrings activate, and then let it go and try to press the heels out and the toes in. And then switch. So you're really not moving. The feet will move just a little bit as you try to drag them, press the ball mounds of both feet out, the toes out, the heels in, and then wrap the ball mounds or the big toes back towards center. Again, all isometric work. And a couple more. Just feel what's going on. You can move your hands around. You can feel the different muscles start to activate as we change the direction of the feet. And then bring it back to center and tuck your pelvis so that your back gets nice and flat. And as you do, I want you to peel the sacrum and the hips off the floor. Don't go too far. Big tuck of the low belly. And then lower that low back, lower the sacrum, wrap it all the way down till you tilt and the low back moves out of the way. And then very slowly start to curl, curl, curl. Don't lift until you feel like those hips are going to lift off the floor. And lower down and tilt. Good. One more here. I want you to go slow. Today's going to be, I think, a little bit slower class. I want you to feel a few things, a little observations here. And last one, tilt it, move it away, head toward the tailbone. And then once again, find that neutral space, neutral space. Take your right arm only and reach it up to the ceiling and let it go overhead. And pause there. I have the back of my hand to the floor. If that feels okay for you and your shoulder, do that. If your shoulder is hurting, take the hand out to the side a little bit more. And then just feel what that arm is doing, let it rest. And then straighten the right leg. You can flex the foot, engage the leg, and engage the right glute, and stretch from fingertips to heel. And just breathe here, just notice. And maybe the right arm can stretch a little further overhead. If your shoulder is such that your hand is hanging, go out to the side or cactus arms. I don't want the shoulder joint to be hanging in space here. And then push into your left foot, engage your lower belly, inhale, exhale, both limbs go up toward the ceiling. And inhale, release. Exhale, nice and slow, bring them up and release. And see if you can stay in the center line of the sacrum as you lift your leg and your hand. Good. And down one more. Squeeze it up, squeeze, 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 and let go. And then release that right arm. Bring the right foot back to the floor, kind of shake out the hips, and take the left arm overhead. And I truly want you to just pause for a second, because often we'll move into our poses or our movement and we never quite feel what's happening in the first place, right? What is actually going on in the chest or the shoulder joint or the neck, right? Are we stressing something out? So just breathe, let the arm be heavy. And then straighten the left leg, flex the foot. Feel the space from your heel to your fingers. Maybe stretch the arm a little bit more. Try to stay right in center line of your sacrum. and then push into your right foot. So we're grounding that side. Inhale first, exhale, lift up and lower down. Good, and bring it up on the exhale. So the temptation is, right, and I did it on the first side once, is to bring my fingers to my toes because that feels good, but then my back flattens and I'm not staying in the middle of the sacrum. So exhale, try to stay in the middle and let it go. Good, 2 more. You've probably done more than me because I paused to talk. And down, last one, everybody, squeeze it up and let it come down. Whew. And breathe. Straighten both legs straight, both arms overhead. Good. Try to soften the shoulders here a little bit so you're not overarching. And then squeeze both glute muscles, both sides of the glutes, so that you feel like you're going to lift off the floor. Dig your right heel into the floor, lift your left leg a couple of inches. Breathe, lift your right arm a couple of inches. So left leg, right arm, everything else stays down. Find that work here and release. Engage both sides of the glutes. Press into your left leg. Lift your right leg a few inches. Lift your left arm a few inches. Opposite side limbs. Breathe. Keep squeezing the glutes and let go. Relax fully just for a second. And then engage, dig both heels in, lift your right arm, lift your right leg. So same side, same side. Try to stay balanced on your sacrum. It's a little tricky. You're either going to lean left or right, and most likely right. So try to press down through the left heel. Try to move your body back into the center line and lower down. Whew. Good. Other side. Dig your left side in. Lift your right foot, your right hand. Not very far. Breathe. Notice. Right? Been playing a lot with that whole clock face idea, trying to keep the hips level and lower both down. Good job, everybody. Let those arms come down along the sides and just feel your kind of upper body right now. Bend both knees, bend both knees. Feet are to the floor. I want you to tuck your pelvis, lift the hips, press up, start to move into bridge pose. Walk the shoulders underneath, press into the upper arms and let your fingertips point toward the ceiling. Good. Now, isometrically, try to drag the heels in, try to drag the toes out. Engage the low glutes, feel that work, and lower down, everybody. Whew. 3 more, or 2 more, just like that. So first, curl your pelvis. Press evenly into both feet. Lift your hips, lengthen through the glutes. Try to draw the glute muscles in toward the hamstrings. Press the shoulders to the floor. Press the elbows down. Breathe easy, easy on the head, neck, and lower down. Whoo, good. Shake it out. 1 more here. When you're ready, here we go. Lengthen through your whole lower back. Peel your body off that floor. Press into both feet. Try to drag the heels in isometrically. Press into the shoulders. Find your breath. Find that strength in your legs. Push into your feet. Don't overdo it, everybody. And lower all the way down. Bring your right knee to your chest. Grab your strap if you can find it. And take the right foot up toward the ceiling. Good. And just feel that. Okay. So, first of all, the hips are nice and level, the foot is flexed. I'm going to externally rotate that right leg. So, I'm going to roll it in, right? And roll the upper hip out a little bit. And then lift your left leg so that the knees are beside each other. So, the knees are parallel to each other. As your right leg externally rotates, take both legs out to the side. Level out your hips because my left hip just hiked up, and then squeeze them into center. The strap there is there to help you. Exhale And inhale, bring them in, flex both feet. 3 more. Exhale, roll them out to the side. Level out your hips. If you need to check with your hands, do that. Squeeze in. Good. 2 more. Out we go. Go slow, controlled. Try to come back to the center of the sacrum every time. Maybe a little tone to the lower belly. Squeeze it in. We got 1 more, everybody. Here we go. Turn it out. Breathe. Notice, right? So those hips move. We want to try to find the level space. Engage your belly. Press to the center of your sacrum. And squeeze them up. Bend your knee. Release that pose. Whew. Good. Just shake it out. All right, we got 1 more side. It look kind of dark down here, I think. I'm looking at the camera for the first time. It's very bright up there. It's very dark down here. All right, so here we go again. The left leg is up. Strap is around your left foot. I want you to externally rotate, lift the right knee, and then both are going to go out to the side about the same time. And I'm just going to see if I tend to roll the hips or not. And squeeze them in. Exhale, let them come out. Go slow. Check it out each time. Don't let momentum take it. Good. Squeeze it in. Exhale. Let it come out. Level out your hips. And squeeze in. By the way, try to keep that left leg straight. I just noticed I was starting to bend it. And in. We got 1 left. Exhale, hold it out there for a second, level out the hips, feel the stretch, try to straighten that left leg and make sure it's externally rotating. And squeeze it in. Good job, everybody. Release that leg, straighten out both legs. And shake it out. Good, last one here. Grab your strap again, take it around both feet, both legs up. And go wide with your legs. So you're hanging on to the ends of your strap. Only go as far as makes sense for you. I want you to externally rotate the legs. So the heels come in, the toes go out, the legs go straight. I'm in the middle space of my sacrum, and I'm gonna push out onto the strap. Easy, easy. Again, activating the outer hips. Some of you can go a little wider, some of you might want to go shorter, right? It's not about how wide you go. It's about what you're feeling in the process as we work with the outer hips a little bit, the glutes a little bit, staying dead center on the sacrum. Big deep breath. And then use the strap to squeeze those legs back in. Grab the strap, take the soles of your feet together and draw the soles of the feet toward you. You can either hold the strap or reach through, grab your feet or grab your ankles. The knees float out to the side. You're still, relatively speaking, in the middle of your sacrum, and then rock a little bit side to side. That's it. And bring your knees together, release your strap, set it off to the side, roll over to one side, and come on up to a seat. Woo, there we go. All right, so have a block nearby, and if you want to sit on your blanket, go ahead and do that. So I'll mirror here, so take your right leg and leave it in, take the left leg out to the side. Now, here's a couple of caveats, right? We do want to be mindful that we're not hyperextending underneath the back of the knee. So if you feel like it's hyperextending, either flex the foot more or put a little something like a corner of your blanket or something under the knee. My right side is okay with this, but my left side, I tend to hyperextend. Your block is going to go right in front of you. There you go. And then just sit up really tall and see if you can find the middle space of your sit bones, right? So what does that mean? Where I'm sitting, I want to just see if I can snuggle in. Maybe you take the flesh out from the sit bones and actually rotate that skin kind of in as if we were gonna draw in through the inner groin and out to the side. It helps that knee get a little bit more centered, but do it on both legs, right? Externally rotate there and see how that feels. Finally, if you need a block under your knee, you know, right? You know, it's no problem. All right. And then find center and take the block in front of you. And just put your hands here and kind of swivel a little bit side to side and see what's happening with the hips. If you start to cramp up kind of in this joint, right, in this extended leg, then just shake it out, bend the knee, shake it out, and then come back to that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, I want you to swan dive forward just a little bit. You still have your block. I want you to take your hands to the block and roll the shoulders back. And hopefully you're feeling a stretch right through this whole inner line of the leg, right? So we want to find that. You can even play with this foot by kind of externally rotating and stretching through that ankle some, and then rolling it in and contracting here and seeing how that feels on the foot. And then find level, the toes are pointing straight up. Press down through both hip bones. This is trickier than it sounds because I want to lift off that left hip. So find that. Lengthen through your spine. Don't let your chest drop. If this is too far or too low, come up even higher on your block. And just pause here for a second. I know we've been here for a little bit, so hang in there with me. And breathe. Maybe you come down to the forearms, but did you lift off the left or the left sit bone? For you guys, left sit bone. And breathe. And then press up. Good. If you can, no hands, switch sides. Find that same line. I'm going to put a little bit of a corner of a blanket under this knee just to give it some love, right? And then externally rotate the flesh, move the flesh out from the sit bones, find the middle space here. Snuggle in, and just breathe. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, little baby swan dive. Take the hands down, recheck what's happening in this leg. Does it feel good? Does it feel cranky? Right? We got to take care of these joints, these knees, right? Try to figure it out. So I'm going to look at the hips. I'm going to draw the lower belly in. I'm going to consider this side and what's happening. And I'm just going to come down far enough to feel a stretch through this inner line of the leg. And then maybe you I think it's pronate this way, supinate, pronate, can't remember. I always get those two mixed up, but maybe you lengthen through the inner ankle, right? By bringing the pinky toe closer to the outside. And then maybe you go the other way and try to draw the ankle in even more, big toe toward that inner line of the leg, and then straighten it out. Maybe you bring your elbows down to your block, but lengthen through the spine, everybody. Find your breath. It's like drawing the sit bones back as the torso comes forward to find length without rounding. I know, hang in there. And walk your hands up. Hold on to your block, switch sides. Oh, yeah. Good. This time that block's going to go to the inside of your left leg. Going to sit up really tall. Remember to cushion this knee. If it's up high, I really want something under there. And breathe. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, left arm to your block. Take your right hand to your shoulder and roll the shoulder open. Tone through the belly. Find the sit bones again. If you're lifted off your right side, take the block up higher, right? And that actually feels good. We don't need to overdo here. And then from this hand to shoulder, see if you can extend it straight up. And breathe. This is a big stretch, but press down through the right hip, right? The same side as your bent knee. Make sure you're staying fairly even on the sit bones. Don't let the head drop down. Smile all at the same time, right? Breathe, everybody. And take it up. I want both arms up. Squeeze the beach ball. Take the right hand down and extend over, but keep the left hip on the floor. Nice stretch for this side. And inhale up. Exhale those hands down. Grab a hold of your block and then switch sides. Bring the block to the inside of your right leg. Find your center, find the sit bones. Inhale, take them up. Exhale, your right elbow down to, or your right forearm down to the block. Hold on, find that middle space, lengthen through the sit bones. And again, on this side, it feels a little better for me to stay up higher, right? So that I don't round into my low back. Take your hand to your shoulder, take the elbow up toward the ceiling. See if you can keep the chest open, and then maybe extend up and out. So press through that leg. Think about it, right? The toes pointing up, the knee is pointing up. Breathe. That's it. And notice. And take both arms up. Squeeze the beach ball. Exhale your left hand down. Press through the right arm. Press down through the right hip. We got this. Breathe. And take them up. Exhale, let go. Set your block aside. Good. Take both legs out. Take both hands and lift your hips up and scoot your hips back, and then take it and set it back down again. And then just sit really tall and flex your feet, and then turn the toes out as far as they will go for you. Okay. Everybody's hips are different. So some people will almost bring their feet to the floor. Some of them will be mostly straight up, and then take the feet up and turn them in. Ooh, yeah, right. So when we're pressing the heels out, right, we notice that, right? We drop in through here. When we press the feet out and isometrically feel the heels drag in, it affects more the outer hips. Just some observation here, if you can feel that. And then slide the legs together, bend your knees, take them out to the sides, little Baddha Konasana. Don't make it too hard. Take the knees up, slide both legs out, slide them both wide. Good. 3 more just like that. Slide them in, bend, open if you can. If you need the hands, use the hands. It's okay. The hand police will not come and get you. All right. Take the knees up, straighten the legs, flex your feet, Dandasana. Go wide, sit up really tall, and then bring them in, bend, open, lift tall. We got one more, just kind of snuggle them down. And knees in, slide straight out, sit up tall, Dandasana pose. Slide the legs out, sit tall still. Release your hands, take your hands to the inner knees and lift up through your chest. Yep. And hands back to heart. Bring them in, bend, take the legs out, listen up. Hands go back behind you. I want you to lift your hips, sit them back. Don't drag the feet in any further. Okay. And breathe. Woo, my toes are cold. It's about 67 in the house right now. So breathe. And sit tall, everybody. Find your breath. Let the shoulders move away from the front chest. And breathe. And then grab your block. Optional here. Take that block at the narrowest setting between your feet. Maybe you lift up. Maybe you find that center spot with those hips again. Lift up tall. Don't overdo. You're pushing the block in maybe 10 or 20%. I know. I feel my hips too. I do. I really do. And let go. Take that block out. Hallelujah. Take the hands to the outer knees. I want you to just cross knees and take the feet out. We're not doing a full cow face pose. I just want you to feel a little stretch through that outer right hip if you're whichever knee is on top, and sit up super tall. And then lean back, see if you can do it without hands, a little trickier. Knees are crossed, sit up really tall. Sit up tall. It feels like grammar school again. Sit up tall and breathe. And release, lean back. Holy moly, good. Come on up to your mat, table pose, everyone. Make sure you've got some cushion under the knees if you would like. And then all I want you to do is press the right leg back, tone in through your belly, and then lift that leg. Heel, kickstand your left foot out to the side and roll over to the side. Flex your foot. Squeeze in through the belly here. Don't arch your back. And breathe. Feel this outer hip, outer glute working, right? And then just this little baby play. If you can, turn the toes down. And then turn the toes up. And then turn them level so that they're pointing straight ahead, and flex the foot. And imagine that you're pressing your heel into a wall, right? So the leg gets really, really active. And level out through your pelvis, right? I just lengthened my tailbone a little bit more. And lower down. Woo, take that down. Holy moly. Stretch back if you can. Get on those, get the toes underneath you. And breathe. And then come on up. Press your left leg back. Find that nice level pelvis. Lift the leg. Kickstand your right foot out. Turn to the side. Think about it, right? Tailbone goes long. The belly lengthens in. I want a relatively level clock face in this pose. Maybe I'll try turning the toes up a little. Maybe I'll try turning them down a little. What does that change? And then a strong flex of the foot. The heel presses toward an imaginary wall. The belly tones in. Hang in there, working with this whole outer hip line. And release, take it down. Whew. Shake it out, everybody. Press into your toes, lift your knees, come to downward facing dog. And breathe. Lower my shirt a little bit. And then heel toe here, or sorry, not heel toe, bend one knee and then the other, and shake it out. Broaden the feet, widen the feet, shake out the hips. Let the heel, one heel turn in, let the other heel turn in. Yep. Breathe. And center and walk your hands all the way back. All the way back. Look at your feet, let them be parallel. Lift your inner arches and then bend the knees. Take your hands to your knees, lift the chest, and then squeeze the belly in and come all the way up to standing. And shake it all out, everybody. Good. I'm just going to move these out of my way. So feel your mountain pose, right? So the feet are parallel to each other. And I want you to do just that kind of similar thing. If I were to drag the heels out isometrically so that the toes start to roll in, the knees roll in, no kidding, right? The sit bones broaden because we're doing a little deep dive with the inner groin. But just kind of feel how that feels. And really isometrically, try to pull the heels out. And then just release that. Lift all your toes. Find balance. Lower the toes, go the other way, isometrically. The heels are going to try to drag towards each other, right? The toes are going to try to pull out. I used to say it's like unscrewing a jar, right? I want to think about opening that up without actually moving it. Notice that the knees start to line up, the outer hips get active, and then feel the glutes kind of draw in as the low belly comes in. And feel how active your legs are right now. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I got all kinds of stuff going on. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, your hands right to your heart. Sit back in the chair. Don't let the knees curl into middle. Breathe. Do the same thing with your feet. Press the heels in isometrically. Try to drag the feet out isometrically, but don't open the knees with it. Keep it centered. Lengthen your tailbone. Lift your chest. Take the arms up. Breathe. Yep, keep working with the feet. Lift the toes. Woo. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And stand up, everybody. Exhale those arms down. Take your feet wide on your mat. So if you got to turn sideways, turn sideways. Just shake out your hips. So it's kind of an interesting thing, right? In life, in yoga, we don't want to be too rigid, and yet we don't want to be too, I used to call it spaghetti arms. We don't want to be too loose, and we don't want to be too tight. We got to find kind of that middle space. If we do a lot of sitting and a lot of kind of not moving, not working with the body, we can get a little bit too lax in the muscles and not have the support we need for life in general. So turn your toes out a little bit, bend your knees, put your hands on your knees, and look at the knees and look at the feet. So ideally, they're both pointing in the same direction, right? That means if your feet are out, your knees are not in, your knees are out, your feet are out. I want you to think about these inner thighs, press the knees out, and your hands, depending on your body length, are either inside the knees or inside the thighs. What I don't want you to do is round forward. So I'm pressing my knees out gently. I'm pressing the knees back into the hands. I'm working with the inner thighs. I'm toning the belly in. And I got line up, right? The knees and the feet, both pointing in the same direction. And then take the hands to the outside knees. Push in, right? Push the hands in, push the knees out. Bunch of work, I know, everybody. Hang in there. Now, lengthen your tailbone, lift your chest, take your hands to your heart. Woo, breathe, lift your toes. You got it. And stand up. Squeeze your glutes when you stand up. Just kind of brings everything back to center. And then heel toe in, but not all the way. Your feet are probably twice your normal hips width apart. Bend the knees, put your hands on your knees. We're right where we were before, but just a different stance. Again, super easy for the knees to kind of collapse in. So I want to press them out. Going to tone in through the belly. If I turn sideways, you can kind of see what in the world I'm doing. So I don't want to overarch here. So I'm going to lengthen through my low back. I'm going to take both hands to the outside knees. I'm going to look forward, not down. And I'm going to push my knees into my hands into my knees, and then see if I can lift my toes off the floor, which means you got to stay in the middle of your feet. Breathe, push out, push out, push. Take the hands inside the knees, try to squeeze in. Breathe, release, and stand up. Shake it out. And then just take your right foot forward. I'm going to try to mirror again. Right foot forward, left foot back to a warrior stance. Right? So even if you went wide and then turned in, make sure your back foot is slightly turned in and bend your knee. So I want you to stay upright. Don't worry about the hands right now. Front hand goes to front hip and kind of rolls it kind of down and under, right? If I'm trying to face that sit bone toward the back. The knee presses out isometrically. The heel draws in isometrically, like I'm unscrewing that jar again. And then I'm going to move the front hip away from the front leg. So I got tall. Now push through the back leg. Just breathe. See if you can lift the inner arch of your back foot a little bit. Lift your front toes. Find your breath. And release and let go. Good. Shake it out. I'm going to do something that I think might help. And I'm just going to flip my mats over so that my brighter one is on the top, because I don't know. I'm having trouble seeing. I'm just getting rid of my other mat. Okay, so We're going to go to, that's better, right? Go to the other side. Take your right or left foot forward, your right foot back, turn the toes in, bend the front knee, start to play. Press the legs away from each other. Imagine dragging your front heel in, toes out without actually moving. Bend or lift your front toes. Find this hip. The hip rolls down. It's almost an external rotation, like we're moving flesh out. And then move the front hip away from the front leg. Belly tones in, the back leg really gets active, right? You can float the arms out on this side if you want, but I really want you to feel the legs. Breathe. Back glute is active, legs are active. Good. Turn your toes forward. Switch sides again. Bend your front knee. Find your lineup. Here we are again. So do everything that we just did, right? Move the front hip up away from the front thigh. Like instead of going here, I want you up here so that the body is straight up. Now, maybe don't do it if it doesn't feel good. Walk the front foot forward a little bit more, but then bend in more. Tone in through the belly, press through the back leg, tailbone gets long. If we think about this, the workshop that I did, she talked about this crisscross of one sit bone to the opposite hip, the other sit bone to the opposite hip. Can we find this kind of sweet level playing field with the hips, even as we extend our pose, even as we maybe bend the knee as we press through the back leg? What? And come on out. Good. Heel toe in a little if you went long. And then come back to the other side. Last one here. So front foot, front knee, front hip bone, bend that knee, press out, right? So the heel isometrically draws in, the toes can lift to find that alignment. We're going to take the front hip and move it. It's like the front hip lifts up and the back hip lifts down or draws down. And then we find this little crisscross going on in the middle of the belly so that we're not overarching. We're going to press through the back leg. And just find this like solid pose where we are actually working with the muscles that we were given to support the pose. And then maybe you try to go a little longer for you. I have not been doing a long warrior for a long time. I don't even know why, but if you feel unstable when you go long, don't do it, right? This has to stay lifted. You can feel the change. When you keep the hips more level, the inner groins will stretch a little bit more maybe, right? The belly tones in, the arms come out. I can lift my front toes, feel super stable here. And release, whoo, heel toe in just enough to turn the toes in and come on down, forward fold. Find your breath, everybody. Good. Heel toe in and come on up. Bend the knees, lengthen through your chest and lift. Whew, and shake it out. Right. So when we play with this idea that we can turn the foot out, turn the knee out, right, and still have stability, that's where we're going to play next. So come up to the front of your mat. Make sure your blocks are here because we're going to use them. Inhale, take it up. Exhale all the way down. And step back with your right leg. And lower your right knee to the floor. Grab your blocks and place them underneath your hands. So as we've been talking about for a while now, right, this tendency to drop through the front hip, I actually want you to tone it in some and check the front knee and make sure it's over your front foot. We'll move the blocks out of the way so you can see. Walk your left foot out and then turn the toes out so that your toes are kind of roughly a 45-degree angle pointed off your mat. Your hands go inside your blocks. So, right, what would feel really good to us, those of us who are super bendy, is to just drop in, right? But I don't want to drop in anymore. What I want to do is take the right hip and squeeze it in and activate the glute. Feel how stable that feels for your body. And then flip your toes under and lift. So we're still here. We're still with the knee turned out, with the toes turned out, with this leg active, with this hip drawing up. And then I'm going to take the hand to the back sacrum. As I twist, right? So I'm going to leave my left hand, take it to my sacrum. I'm going to move from my chest and twist and fire up the long right leg and draw the belly in so that my sacrum feels, even though it's angled, it feels like it's straight across. There's no stress on the SI joint. I can open up the chest, keep the back leg active, take the arm up. Yep, find that. Keep the back leg active, everybody. And release it. Take everything back to center. Lower your right knee. Just slide your left leg back and shake it out. Maybe you stretch back and get up. Get the toes under you to stretch out your feet. And let's switch sides. So right foot forward. Start in a regular old lunge. A regular old lunge, right? And the left hip, right? We want to stretch it. But instead, I want you to draw it in. I can show you a different stretch that doesn't impinge that front hip line. So instead, I want to draw it in. I'm going to take my right hand block inside, walk my right foot out just a little bit, and turn the toes out. And notice, right? If you drop in versus if you squeeze in, I want that squeeze in there, and I want the left glute to get really active. Flip your toes under, lift your knee. Find it again, right? Toes are out, knee is out, back leg is active. I'm going to curl my belly in. My left hand is going to stay on the block. You can take your right hand to your knee. Curl in through that leg. Now, fire up the long leg. Fire up the left leg. Like press the heel back. Bring the back thigh up toward the ceiling. Yep. Then take the arm up. Beautiful supported twist. Notice your front knee and breathe. Yep. And exhale. Good. Straighten your back foot, lower that knee if the back foot was crooked, and then just take a moment break. Just a moment. You can sit back on your heels, or you can come to child's pose, or come on down to your belly, whatever feels good to you. So we're going to take this up just one notch. If you feel like, yeah, that was enough for you at that level, please, please, please stay there, right? Because what are we doing? We're creating stability. And if that is the place to create stability, that's an awesome place. Don't ever feel like you got to go up or down, right? You find where it works for your body. And that is, for me, the true practice of yoga is to honor your body and listen to it. So we're going to come back to that first side where the left foot is forward. The right knee is lifted. The left foot walks out and turns out. And I've got my hands on both blocks. I have my blocks on the lower setting because it feels more stable there. So same thing that we were just doing. Want you to think about it. Back leg active, the hip almost tucked in a little bit. And as I straighten the right leg, the right glute becomes more active. So one, you're going to stay here. Left foot, left knee is turned out. The hips are level if I feel. They feel really stable. Or you're going to take your back foot, turn to the side, and turn your front foot more to the side so that you're in, it's kind of like a side plank with a little kickstand for your front foot. And I don't know if you can see that. So let me turn myself all the way around. So we were here. And breathe. Now, here's the key. You're on the pinky side of the foot, but you're not letting this underside hip drop. I'm going to pull it away from the floor and take the leg up. Find your breath. Squeeze your belly in. I know. Take that hand down to your block. Turn all your toes back to the normal space. Lower your knee and come on down. Whew. And breathe. I hope that made sense, right? Because not everything really seems to translate through Zoom. So hopefully that made sense. We just turned ourselves on our sides, right? No big deal. No big deal. All right, so come on up. When you're ready, right foot forward, left foot back. First, come into a nice little lunge, lift the knee, walk the right foot out, turn the right toes to the side. Find that. That might be where we hang out, right? No big deal. If and when you're ready, the front foot turns to the side, the back foot turns to the side. I'm strongly on the pinky edge without letting the ankle drop. And we take the arm up. Keep this bottom hip from sinking down. Breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hand back, feet back. Drop your knees and come on back. Find your breath. Shake it out. All right. And then move your blocks out of the way. And come to downward facing dog. Stretch out the fingers. Good hands, good shoulders, everybody. Pedal it out. And come to plank. So plank pose, right? It's like you are pushing all that weight away from the floor. The legs are active. The ankles are moving toward each other. The chest is lifted. Find your plank, everyone. Big deep breath. And then downward facing dog. Woo. Walk the feet wide and walk your hands back. And come on up. Roll it out. Roll it out. Roll it out. Shake it out. And breathe. Mountain pose again. Roll the hips, right? So the hips get active out here by isometrically dragging the heels in, pressing the toes out, finding that big activation here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to your heart. Roll the shoulders back. Lean into one foot, turn the other foot out to the side. So tree pose, we play with tree pose all the time. So much of it has to do with this hip. Please go near a wall if you would like. Okay, we're going to come back down in a minute. So this hip out to the side doesn't support you. This is what we want. We want this to squeeze in to find the line from foot to knee to front hip. This leg turns out, both hips point forward, and then take the foot up to your tree pose, wherever it is for you. You know it doesn't have to be that high. Just watch heel to knee kind of stuff. And then squeeze in. Woo. Tone your belly. Lift your chest. Activate the glutes. And breathe. Maybe the arms come up. Foot presses into thigh, thigh presses into foot. That's it. And lower down. and shake it out. Mountain pose. Activate the outer hips. Turn your, if I'm mirroring here, be your left foot, turn it out. Just rest on that ball mound, right? You know, tree pose. You can just take your toes off the floor and play there. What's more important to me is this activation of the leg, the hip, right? Relatively speaking, toes are forward. We have the support here, so we can do anything we want with this leg without bringing the hip and the glute out. So find that hip points are forward. That's a tricky one for a lot of people. Hip points are forward, like headlights, right? You heard me say that before. And then take your foot up where it makes sense for you. Check your hip points, check your hips, take your hands to your heart. That is the most stable. Imagine pressing your leg back into your foot. Most stable. And then find calmness, like find the calm abode in your body. If you have to tap in, tap out 100 times, it's awesome, right? You're there, you're trying, you're making it happen. Arms up, optional. Pinky fingers forward so that the shoulders open. Squeeze, hold, smile, and let go. Shake it out. All right. And then come on back. Come on back. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, take it down. Step back to downward facing dog and breathe. Keep your feet hips width apart. Come to plank pose. Going to give a couple of options here, okay? One, it's a side plank. You're going to turn your feet. I like to scissor my legs. Some people can stack. I don't feel like that is as supportive for me. And come to plank. Choice number two, you're in plank. You drop your left knee and turn to the side. Choice number four, just because you turn one foot to the side, one foot forward where we were before. We've been to all other places. So where is it for you? And breathe. Woo. And come on down. Oh, lower your knees. Slide your hips back. I know. Find your breath. Just notice. Shake it all out. Let's do the other side because we got to do the other side, right? So you got lots and lots of choices, everybody. Embrace one choice, right? So that your one choice isn't a, oh gosh, it's a yes, I pick this one. And this is the one I'm going to do with full enthusiasm. All right, down dog. I like starting from down dog to a solid plank. If you're turning to your side, I always walk my one hand in, turn my toes all facing the same direction. I scissor my feet. I lift up, I press out of that standing arm. I lift my hips away from the floor. Remember, one knee down or one foot forward. And release. Plank pose, everyone. And lower your knees. Woo. Grab one block on your way and come on down, have a seat. How does that feel? How did that feel? Powerful, energizing, challenging, right? It's all right. Good. So just to shake that out and remember cross legs if that doesn't work for you. Don't worry about staying there. Just take one arm, take your right arm, take it up to your ear, straight up. Good. Your other hand stays forward. I want you to stretch. And then take it up and roll it back and look back and come into a nice, easy little twist. And center, other side, take your left arm up. Breathe. Keep the right hand forward as you come into a twist. Or sorry, come into a side stretch. Boy, my words are really funky today. And take it up, reach that arm behind, and just come into a nice little twist for your spine. And center. Good. And then take your right leg and just see if you can make it parallel with the edge of your mat. Take your block underneath that knee. Take the other leg and bring it in front so that it just kind of taps this knee. I'm borrowing a little bit from one of my yoga teacher friends. Flex both feet. So this is kind of like fire log pose, but a little bit easier. Hips are centered. Just kind of notice, how do you feel here? Keep even on the sit bones. So if your left leg is in front, your left hand to the floor, take the right hand and just reach it across and twist, but don't lift off your sit bone. Don't lift off either sit bone. Stay centered and breathe. And come to center. Now, one, if that felt great, do that again. Two, you're going to take the front foot and place it, stack it, one knee on top of the other. And you can see I got a little bit of space here. Been hiking, so my hips are kind of tight today. So I'm just going to take that block underneath that second knee so that I've got support for the pose. Woo! Yeah, feel the hips there, right? Remember, you can come back to the first one where this foot is forward, or you can do more cross leg. So find your passion, find what works for your body. And then same thing, the left hand goes out. I'm going to twist and I'm going to take the right hand and I'm just going to turn to the side here. So it's a little bit of a twist. It's a little bit of fire log pose. The shoulders are back. The hips are giving me some information. Use your breath. And come center. Take the block out, lean back, straighten the legs, shake it out. Good. And then let's go to the other side so we can finish. So it would be, if I'm mirroring here, it would be your left leg that is parallel to the edge of your mat, whether you're sitting full, short edge or long edge. Take the block underneath. Take this leg forward. And you're just bringing the knees in a little bit. Flex both feet, nice and active. If you don't love the block, you can take it out, but I kind of like the block there just to help support that hip, that leg, but find what works best for you. Right hand goes out, left hand twists. Take the hand down. I'm just kind of using my leg as a little bit of a pivot point, but not a lot. Keeping the chest nice and tall, keeping the foot flexed. Big deep breath. That's it. And then take it center and decide for you, do you want to take the block out and see what it feels like to stack the legs? Again, got a little space there, so I'm going to put my block there. You can put your blanket there. I'm going to find the middle line of my hips. Sit up really tall. Deep breath. Right hand goes to the floor, the shoulder opens, the left arm reaches, and then I find my twist. And breathe. Chest stays tall. See if you can find calm, right? Calmness in your body. And back to center. Take the block out. Listen up. You're going to lean back. See if you can open, no hands. Take the hands forward. Roll your shoulders forward and breathe. Some of you are welcome to come on down closer to the floor. I don't tend to do that with when both legs are out. I just go into my low back there, so I don't do that. But I sure can draw the hands back isometrically, pull the chest forward, activate the legs, turn the toes straight up, and breathe. And come on back, grab those knees, Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Good, warm up your toes if they're chilly like mine. Maybe flutter the knees a little, but be very gentle. And then take the hands to the heart, push the elbows out, push the palms down. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And release. Draw the knees together, everybody. And when you're ready, bring those feet back to the front of your mat. Good. If you're in a chilly spot like me, go ahead and put some socks on those lovely feet, because otherwise I'm going to be going, my feet are cold. And then plant your heels to the floor. Lift your chest and slowly take it down to the floor, all the way down. I know. And then bring both of your knees to your chest. Keep the right knee in, stretch the left leg really, really long, everyone. And breathe. And then fingers wrap around the front of the knee, push the knee away. Lift the left leg optionally. Coming back to the center of your sacrum. Lower your left leg, bring the right knee in, switch sides. First, bring the left knee all the way in, stretch the right leg all the way. And then push the knee away from you, hold on to it, lift the right leg, level out your pelvis. And breathe. Bring both knees to chest, hands go to the outside of the knees. Push against your knees, everybody. Resist with your hands. Center of the sacrum, space behind your lower back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fully release, feet to the floor. And then straighten one leg and then the other leg. And find Shavasana. And just breathe. In your Shavasana, maybe you can feel if the hips feel pretty even to you. If you're in the center line of the shoulders or the upper back, so that the shoulders spread out on either side. The weight in the legs feels pretty even. You're centered at the back of the head. Soften your breath. Let go of your tension. Allow your jaw to slacken. Let your whole body surrender. And as you're ready, start to wiggle toes and fingers. Very slowly draw the knees up toward your chest. Start to rock side to side. Allow the knees to roll to one side or the other. Curl over to fetal pose and just give yourself a big hug, a big smile. Thank yourself for coming to practice today. And then as you're ready, press all the way up. Bring your hands to your heart. Bow to your own inner goodness, your own worth, your own loveliness. Know that there's nothing you have to do to change that. You are already there. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.